Great news coming out of Liverpool, and Quansah has signed a brand new deal with Liverpool, mainly to reflect the elevation of his status within the squad, but also with it being a long-term deal, connecting him to Liverpool for even longer. He's been with the club since the age of 5, come through all of that academy, obviously went on loan to Bristol Rovers, and then since he's come back from that, it's pretty impressive to see what he's done since that. I've got a little list here. Premier League debut after that, scored his first goal for the club. Obviously, he was part of the England squad as well, or at least that provisional team that was out there. Scored his first Premier League goal, and of course, now with this brand new contract, he's made himself more of a fixture than he's ever been at any level in any club. And I'm really pleased for him. He had a really great run, and again, it comes down to someone like Jurgen Klopp bringing him through, trusting in youth, training those kind of people, building relationships with them, and now us capitalising off the back of that. Recency bias, and recency being this season, might say, well, he's only played a couple of games, played in the EFL Cup, and he obviously played against Ipswich on that opening day of the season before he was subbed off. But that's probably where we're looking at him improving over the next year to 2 years. He's only 21, so he's still got a while to go. I think people forget Konaté is 25. Obviously, Virgil van Dijk's coming towards the end of his career now, and people like Joe Gomez joined Liverpool relatively young. So it takes a while for a centre-back to fully develop. And whilst he might have a lot of the physical traits and his reading of the game does seem very good, he's very good at covering, he's very good, and he's been on that Trent Alexander-Arnold side, which I think is probably seen as one of the more challenging places to play in the Premier League, because of how exposed you are. We're going to see him develop tactically. But it's lovely. He was born in Warrington. He's a great young kid. He's someone who's an actual a lifer for Liverpool. He's someone who cares about the club. He sees, and I think has been tempted into staying at Liverpool because of the Slot project. He spoke in his interview after signing the contract about the development and the way the new manager has come in, the way he feels about that, how good he feels about that. It'd be very easy for a lot of people to speculate about the opposite of that happening after he got subbed off against Ipswich. But I think he knows, there's still time for him to develop. And whilst he might be a right-footed player who should probably play on the right side of the defence, Konaté is also on that side and is a very strong player with a great profile. And honestly, while we're looking at people like him, it's not only down to just having two centre-backs that you love. Plenty of people's title charges have been completely dismantled on the back of not having enough centre-backs or centre midfielders. And he is one of those people who not only will be part of the wider squad, but is probably going to be challenging for that starting 11. He started the first game of the season for Arne Slot. Great for him, but also great for the club. He's a player that I really love to watch. I think he's got great vision. I think his passing is certainly improving. And whilst he's got those midfield options, it certainly makes his passing a little bit easier. But his overall passing will improve. And he's, like he said in his interview, he's in the right place at the right time, alongside the best centre-back in the world in Virgil van Dijk, one of the best other centre-backs in the world in Konaté, Joe Gomez, who had a very similar path to him, where it's like, coming through so young, being very adaptable. He's taller than him. He's got all of these great physical attributes. Some people calling him Virgil van Dijk 2.0. I don't know if it's quite that, but we'll see. Virgil van Dijk's got a very high bar, which has been set. And, at least as far as I'm concerned, he's the best that the Premier League's ever seen. So there's a lot of excitement around this kind of thing. We're also expecting that to be followed up with a Konaté to sign a new contract. I'll talk about the other contracts from other people in another video. But I think what it does do is it shows Liverpool's intent to tie certain players down to long-term deals, especially if they're young and probably not on a deal before, which is commensurate to where they're at in their career. But also, part of what Trent Alexander-Arnold was saying, first of all, he wants to be able to win things, but he also wants to see some form of roadmap for Liverpool. He wants to know that the big players are going to stick around, or that if Liverpool are going to end up selling someone, bear in mind, Quansah was rated at 60 million over the summer. Like, imagine being a young player and being 21 and being rated at 60 million by Newcastle United. So I don't even like, it's like, this isn't just some other random team. This is Newcastle United, a team who really want a long-term centre-back. They came in and offered, we're looking at offering a very big transfer fee for him. I think it's a massive endorsement of not only our academy, which has produced people like Trent, people like Jarell, people like Curtis, the list goes on, but also it's a massive endorsement of the timeline team, the team the development team that bring them into the actual first team. It's a massive endorsement of what Jurgen Klopp has done at the club, the way that they completely rebuilt the internal structure during this time, the brand new facilities. They still look sparkling new when you walk in there, the accent now. It's an incredible facility to bring players through. And it's also a great way to attract young players. At the age of 21, He's coming through into the first team at the age of 20. He was coming through into the first team. There are other young players coming through as well in Trainioni, but also Curtis Jones came through that. There are loads of other young guys who came through and get an opportunity in the first team. And it's very clear where that path is. Now, it might be a slightly different path under someone like Arne Slot initially, because he needs wins. He needs to shore up he needs a squad of people who he knows he's got his ideas drilled into. And maybe that's a little bit trickier with younger players who don't read the game in the same way. I think that's certainly a part of Quansah's game which needs to improve. But the players who are coming in can see that. That's part of why we attracted a young Chelsea star away from Chelsea towards Liverpool. Because they can see, look at all these young guys coming through and either getting opportunities or getting good transfers to teams where they will be established players instantly. That's a massive attraction. Liverpool aren't a feeder club. They aren't the kind of club that just, other players come through and then we just farm them off. We've had plenty of peaks and are in the presence of plenty of peaks at this club at the moment. Alisson, Van Dijk, Mo Salah. I think there are multiple names in the squad that you could argue are in a peak, such as McAllister. Obviously, people like Andy Robertson. I think for years to come, we'll see Trent be peaking, but we've caused that. We've, essentially trained that into him. We've found how to get these best aspects out of him. Things like that are massive endorsements of the institution that Liverpool have, and also a massive endorsement of why we need to be more careful in the transfer market, why you don't always buy a lot of this talent in, why you can be looking at who's sitting on the bench, who's in the under-21s, who's in the under-23s, whatever you want to call it, and why they're doing so well. It's also an endorsement, by the way, outside of the club and in just a wider context, when those very same people are being called up to England, are being, basically in French national teams, German national teams, captains of Dutch teams. We've got different captains from different levels. And it's not only at just one level for us. Harvey went away with the youth team. Curtis went away with the youth team at one point. Jarell went away with the youth team at one point, was in that provisional England team. We've got a captain in Soboslai of Hungary. We've got a captain of the Dutch team. We've got a captain of Egypt. And we've got a captain of the Scottish team as well. We've got someone who's basically a captain of Brazil in Alisson, if they trusted him in such a way. And I think that's where we're looking for here, is we're looking for Quansah to spend as much time around this first team as possible to soak up so many of those qualities and make him into the kind of player that Liverpool want as an institute, not just someone who wants to go away to Real Madrid or wants to be part of something else. And arguably, because people like Trent are going to Real Madrid, or potentially could be going to Real Madrid, I think it's an endorsement of where Liverpool are at. Obviously I'd be sad to see Trent go if he did go. As a Liverpool fan, I don't want to see that. I want someone I relate to out in the field. I want someone that I feel is caring about us, is a future captain. That's what I want. But what I really want is someone who cares enough and is surrounded by the right people to be able to stay at the club, to be able to win things with us, to endorse the project, to endorse his hometown, and to endorse the people who every week spend a lot of their wages, spend a lot of their hard-earned money to go and see them. And he has a relationship with those people. I think Trent has had that and does have that. And I think Jarell has that too. I think a lot of people in this Liverpool team, they valued them because they're down-to-earth individuals. And I think, this is no criticism or shade to Manchester United, but there have been a lot of people in recent years who've really struggled with their personal life. And not least, Liverpool have had the same, where there have been players who've struggled with their personal life. No shade towards those people. I think everyone struggles in their own personal life. Financially, emotionally, with a relationship. Everyone is going to have those struggles at some point. Just because you have money and status doesn't mean you're above that. But when they do find those people, you want to lock those people down who are consistent characters for teams. There's a reason that Konate is so well loved at Liverpool, even when he's going through tough times. There is a reason that Jarell is signing a new contract. It's because of his character, it's because of what he does for the team, it's because of who he is to have around when he's not in that first team. And we've seen these kind of great reactions from players like that during a time when it was probably quite a lot of adversity for him. And, it feels like a bit of a tripping hazard when it's like, oh, I'm out the team, my reaction might be terrible. You see the measure of the man in those areas and those moments, and I think that's really key for me. It really is beneficial to have characters like that around the team. So, yeah, great for Jarell, great for Liverpool. Quansah signed. Konate potentially on the verge of signing another. We won't see the other three sign anything until after January when they get offers from other teams. But let's see. Let's see what happens. Another video coming out on the rest of those contracts probably tomorrow. I hope you guys are having a good evening, and I will chat to you in a little while. Much love. Bye.